Welcome to Monday Morning Business Foreplay. Today we are blessed to be in the presence of Miss Joyce. And I had gotten on a call with Joyce and I learned so much from Joyce. So I'm new to the LinkedIn platform. Um, I don't think I've had my LinkedIn account for a year even,
Wow.
but I didn't start utilizing it even until maybe November, October, maybe of last year.
I didn't
So
know you didn't.
I did not ask Joyce to go look at my LinkedIn and give me a review because it probably would have been um, earth shaking for her. She probably would have fallen over and had a heart attack because my LinkedIn is probably not very good. But I'm here to learn just like everybody else. And so, Joyce, let's dive into this. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your personal life, so that you're relatable to us and how you got into this?
Well, my name's Joyce Feustel. As I was telling Carl as we were hanging out before the meeting, grew up in a dairy farm, have a strong work ethic after seeing my mom, dad, my uncle work that farm, and oldest of four kids. That's why I'm kind of bossy. Like to take charge. Went to college in Madison University, Wisconsin, met this cute guy who I'm still married to 54 years later. So that's a cool little factoid. And moved out here to Denver from Madison just over 30 years ago. And during most of that time, I worked in the field of sales until I retired into my business, Boomers Social Media Tutor, specializing in LinkedIn. And not only for people born between 1946 and 64, but youngers as well, and even sometimes olders than that. I focus on business owners and job seekers as well. And how did I get into this is a cool origin story. Toward the tail end of that career in sales, the company I was at rolled out social media. That was back in 2010. And my manager, I'll throw this at age 35 to my age 61, noticed I was the best chatter upper. I think I'll say that's an official term now, of the company's social media. And he said, Joyce, have you ever thought of helping people, especially in your baby boomer age group, to understand social media like you do? He said, no, Brett, I had never thought about doing that. And he was so encouraging. He really, I was going to say, nah, I'm too old for that, or I don't know that much. And it was anti-ageism. I want to call it that he could see me, the 61-year-old gal who was all excited about social media. So that's a little bit about me. No, you go, oh, you're muted, sweetie.
I love that. And so, Joyce, I'm just going to ask you. I know you should never ask a lady her age, but I want to ask you your age because I think it's so important for everybody to understand that it's just really never too late to get in and learn social media. So,
Well,
how
yeah, I brag about my age all the time. Not brag about it. I'm transparent about it. I am 77 years old in December. I started this business in 2010, went full time in 13 at the age of 64, and it's the best 13 years of my life, hands down.
good? Now I have to ask you, do you go on TikTok?
No,
Okay.
I have an account, but I really stick, one man, whatever. I am LinkedIn. I use Facebook personally and a little bit for business and Instagram, less, but I'm on that, but not TikTok. No, I'd probably be really delightful on TikTok because I'm quite the personality, but I'm not, but I haven't gone that far, maybe someday. I have a YouTube channel though.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. If everybody who's listening will drop in the chat where you're joining us from, you can also utilize the chat, put your information in, use this as a little bit of a networking. You can save the chat. I do not save the chat, but you guys just go right ahead. Nicole says, you're a digital diva. Yay,
Digital
Joyce.
diva.
I
I
think
love
that's
that.
right. A chatter upper and a digital diva. So
Mhm.
let's jump into it. Joyce, why don't you tell us all the things we need to know about LinkedIn?
Well, there were three things I promised to talk about for sure, and which I prepared for, and I can certainly answer questions as well. One of the things the one I want to lead with is your profile headline. Realize whenever you go and comment on somebody's post on LinkedIn, or when someone looks at you, they see three things. They see your profile picture, they see your name, and they see your profile headline. That is it. So you have to think, how am I going to catch their attention? How are they going to know who and what I'm about? So I was researching with my best friend ChatGPT, who I like to call Athena because that's a cool name. And she and I were talking about this. And really what it comes down to is search terms and taglines. And the point is with search terms, people know LinkedIn coach, LinkedIn boomer, LinkedIn tutor, but like a baby boomer could be an audience. That could be an audience. So you have, what is, I like her, she, who I help. So I could put that in there. And then the result is that they get more business or they find a job. So that, but a tagline humanizes you. My tagline is making LinkedIn simple, easy, and fun. You have a great tagline, Colleen. I looked at yours. So that's, uh, uh, but another consideration with a headline, even though you're given 220 characters, is the first 60 to maybe 80 that are the most important because that will cut off in a Google search. Or certainly on LinkedIn, they only show the first maybe 3 or 4 words when you go to comment. So I say, go in and be creative. All of us business people, we have, so much latitude. People who work at a company, they probably typically say their job title in their company, but don't do that. That's boring.
That's interesting because also when I started my LinkedIn, I just put where I was in my entrepreneurial journey now moving forward, and I've had many people say, "No, you need to tell the whole history of where you've been," and I'm like, "That's just a lot," you know? So, I haven't edited that. I do feel like I need to edit it, but the key things to put in there when we're looking at our LinkedIn profile, and I'm gonna pull my actual profile up so I can look at it while I'm telling you this. Um,
Mhm.
we have our
And
tagline, and
right.
then what about the buttons and things you can put on there? Is there an importance and a value to those that it doesn't not really matter if we use them?
This is a really good question. So let me pull mine up as well. When you say buttons, I want to make sure we're talking about the same thing. So there are, let me get back to my own here. Right below, to look at yours there, where it says add section. So
Yes.
you have your headline, then you have your place in Missouri where you live, right? And your contact info, your connections. There's a button called add section. And I will just do a quick overview of this. So when you click on add section, there's 3 groupings. There's core, which is any place you went to college, positions you've held, and it's fine to go back in time, however long is relevant. That's the experience section. Services is a separate services page, much like you just tucked in a little mini website right there into your profile. Career break, if you stayed home and raised kids for like 10 years, you could put that in there, or you're with your dying mother for a year until she passed. Skills are important to put in for SEO. Then recommended is a great section because it can have your licenses and certifications. You got all, just put in what's relevant. Projects, so great for things like presenting at conferences like you're doing on Wednesday and Me Too with the Voices of Women, courses to be taken. You can feature certain posts and other aspects of your profile. And then finally, I know it's a long answer, additional is where you can add volunteer experiences, things you published, honors and awards you've had, organizations you belong to. So I say, populate as many of those as are relevant. And that's, I think that, as I've said that probably more than once, but I think it's what makes you personal. It's what makes LinkedIn be a more of a 360-degree version of you. And your
Well,
about section, well, I kind of skipped over that. That's in the top section, the core section. You got a lovely about section, calling that. That's a story of you, but a little bit in the context of where you've been. So go ahead.
when I'm looking at those buttons, I'm wondering, should I have one there that says, subscribe to my newsletter? Right? Or I see there's one that says open to. I
Yeah,
could
open to, okay, just to stop for a minute. Open to is if you are looking for a job, or if you're looking to hire someone, or if you're looking to get involved with nonprofits. So usually open to, you just leave that alone. You don't really touch that. But then to feature something like, I don't know, am I able to share my screen on
yes,
this?
you can at
Oh,
least.
oh, great. Well, then that's going to make that so much easier. Okay, so let's just go over here and we'll see if we're talking about the same thing. Now let me show you something. Here you have something called featured. So see here featured, you can feature a LinkedIn newsletter. You could feature, subscribe to whatever, to events. I mean, you could keep something just there, just staying there. Then you could also add them over time. And right now my featured is broken. It's been broken for 2 months. So otherwise I'd show you exactly how you could do it. But anyway, that's featured. Then you can also up in here under contact info, watch this. Here you can have up to 3. See this? 3 different there's my different websites. I'm sorry, I didn't finish my point. Websites, YouTube, that's my LinkedIn. This should take you to my boomers. There it is. See? So it takes you to my company page on LinkedIn. So I hope that helps a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. And so, let's talk about getting verified. Do you know
Ah,
much about that? Because I've had so many problems getting verified. When I first tried to get verified, it told me that because I was using a prepaid phone, I couldn't get verified. Does that really affect things when I'm not verified?
you know what? Here's my opinion on verified. If you were a financial advisor, if you were an attorney, something like that, a CPA, it probably would be better if you were verified. But I think most people absolutely do not need to worry about being verified. You got to provide your personal information to a company called Clear. They're like, you see them like a TSA. Is that's a third party that LinkedIn is using, but you're divulging, your personal information like a driver's license or something. I would, in your world, probably you don't need to be verified.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to go one more place because I did promise to talk about it. Because so we've talked a bit about the headline, right? And then I want to go down and just talk about projects down in here. So projects are a little, I won't say a little used, are less familiar to people than other parts of the LinkedIn profile. So for example, I should be adding, and I'll do that after I get off of here, presentations like this is out of date. Look at that for August 25. Ooh, shame on me. I could put in that voices of women in there as a project. I could be this example right here, just spending this time with you all. I could put that in as a project. I'm not going to put it in as a job or something. I might list it under where is this? I have training. See, I do LinkedIn training and presenting. I listed as a separate position. And then down here, I list places where I have been doing the training. But anyway, I won't take too much time on that. But those are the things I wanted to make sure people didn't know about because a lot of times people haven't heard of them. But this is one other one, and I checked your years out here. I know I'm kind of bouncing around, but watch this carefully. See how I have 5 skills here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. You only have 3, Colleen. And what are these skills? These are the skills that are your core skills, the main ones you use day in and day out. And you can, I mean, ChatGPT got really complex on this and talked about outcome skills, positioning skills, and you research this, go to your own chat. But I think if that's I spent over 90% of my time helping people with LinkedIn. So I don't put Facebook in here, but I like to put a speaker because I do a lot of speaking like this. But see, people don't know where to even find it. So look at this. So if you go to the arrow by the about and then below the narrative section is where it'll be like a little bubble. See, if I take this out, you'll see this little bubble, add skill. But the skills have to be down in the main skills section. And then you can put up the 5, just select the 5 and you have them there. And it's great. And I was so pleased to see you had at least some skills.
Why are we only keeping them to 5? Actually, when I look on mine, I think it says I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
No, in the skills section itself, Colleen, that's where you're probably looking, Colleen. You
Yeah.
can have 100.
Oh,
You can have 100. What I'm saying is if I were to ask you of those 11, what's the 5 most important ones that you want to be known for, right?
uh-huh.
Then you want to put those up here after about, to see how much higher this is in the profile, how it grabs people's attention sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is tricky because it isn't a separate section. That's what's so pesky about it. It's actually embedded into the about section, it meaning the 5 skills.
Interesting. I did not know that was there. Now let me ask you just an
Yeah,
aesthetically pleasing question. Did you put the dime in there or it comes that way?
it just comes that way. It's so cool.
Okay. I just wondered if you get to choose your
No,
emoji there.
no, you can do no formatting on LinkedIn. Well, you can put in cool little emojis and whatever, but
So
the
talk to me
format,
about recommendations on LinkedIn, the importance, value, who we should be
yeah.
giving them to, those kinds of things.
Yeah. So recommendations, have you gotten a Google review? Let's start with that. Then that's a person who's a good candidate to write you a recommendation. I have a lot of recommendations. I have over 300, which is maybe overkill, but I don't care. So what you want to do is you have to be connected to that person. So who should you ask? You should ask a client. You should ask regulars on this show. But you have to, here's the key, to be recommended for a certain thing, you have to list it. You have to list it up here in experience. So you need to list this show or interviewer, let's say you have other shows too. And if that's up here separately listed, then you can be recommended for it. But if you only list it where else, like under projects, let's say, then you can't be recommended for it. You have to have it up here and just be specific. Tell them what results they got, how they felt working with you. There's no limit to the length of a recommendation, but I wouldn't have people go on too long. If somebody sends one to you and then it is wrong, it's got spelling errors or something, send it back to them, ask for a revision, and only then would you put it up on your, I'll go back down.
So that brings up an important point, Joyce, that I really like is that you get to, when people fill out the, right there, when people fill out the recommendations, you can click on show all pending, and that will show you if you have any that people have submitted to you, and then you can add them, then you can accept them, right? Or post them or share them or whatever it's, however it says it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So say if you just don't, there's something about that person, some kind of random person that you don't know that well, and they wrote you a recommendation, you don't even have to show it. No. See, these are all people that I think I have asked to recommend me. That's who
Right.
they are. Right. So it's just pending for them. I don't have anybody right in here who has recommended me who I need to review their recommendation. So
So
I
you
just
don't
said,
have any to review. I I don't have any to review either. As a matter
yeah.
of fact, I probably need to get some. So if anybody on here, you might get a request from me.
Oh yeah.
I think I have.
And give them, be generous too. I try to keep up got behind on mine. Yeah.
Yeah,
What other questions do people have that you have? How much time do we have here? I know we have a late start, but
yeah, we have plenty of time. Uh,
okay.
okay, so does anybody have any questions right now? Becky, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I was going through, walking through with you, and I had a couple sections that you mentioned that I don't have. I don't have projects, and I don't have featured when I'm in my business, in my profile.
So Becky, watch this. Okay. So if you go over to your profile and you see the bubble ad section, do you
Yep.
want, okay, watch carefully. Now, LinkedIn conveniently takes us right to the group of sections that include both of those. Do you see where it says recommended?
Oh, okay. So we add them by putting something in them.
You
Okay,
have to
perfect.
yeah. And then once you have one done, see, there's a project name, description, there's a little template. Then you can just add it just going forward, just by clicking on plus next to that section. And one thing about projects I neglected to mention is that you can add contributors. So like Nicole and Colleen partner up and stuff, right? So then you would have Colleen, with you as say for this business foreplay or maybe other, things you do together. So yeah, so that's, and you know what? You don't even ask their permission. I love that part. You just grab their name and put it up and they're told, oh, maybe Colleen's done this and maybe you want to add this project to your profile. I just think that's so cool.
I love this. I just think these are golden nuggets. I did
Yep.
not know these things.
No,
Um,
most people don't. I mean, that's pretty typical.
What is your opinion of paying for LinkedIn?
Well, that's such a good question. It depends how you use LinkedIn. Um, one of the things LinkedIn done in this ultimate greediness, when we go to send an invite to someone, now they've ratcheted it down. I believe it's only 3 times a month without a paid account. Can you write a personal note to someone? I mean, I think that's so stupid. They just want money, money, money. So that's one of my, I have a few negative thoughts about LinkedIn, and that's one. So that's one of the things that is sad. That's to me, it'd be the main reason I'd want to have a paid account. Also, when you have a paid account, which I do have, you have analytics. You can see all kinds of helpful pieces of information. You can see who's looked at you back 90 days and see trends. Now, if they're hiding, you're not going to be able to see them. There's see somebody at the University of Baltimore, even with a paid account, I can't get through that. And there's some other features. If you do a lot of searching on LinkedIn, you're not going to run out of searching by the end of the month or something. But I think it's mainly that one with the invites personally. I'd say the vast majority of people really don't need to have a paid account. They can just, if they're going to invite someone, they could maybe, if they already have their email, write them an email and say, "Oh, I'm inviting you to LinkedIn Watch for my LinkedIn profile." I mean, there's some workarounds.
Thank you.
Hey, Joyce, will you quit sharing your
Oh,
screen?
sure, sure.
I just ask you that because I wanna make sure that I can get some good clips of you
Okay,
for
yeah, sure, you bet.
Nicole, are you spotlighting? Thank you. Um,
Yes.
okay, so I have a paid account and I'm nosy. I like to see who views my account. That's probably the thing I use it for the most. That and then invitations, inviting people to events. I use my full 1,000 every week. And also, I send a lot of messages and a lot of introductions, and so I wanna make sure that I'm still able to do that. I see that Paula has a question.
Yeah, she did earlier, yeah.
Oh, I lowered my hand. It was about the projects because I was wondering, like I do a lot of podcasts, I do a lot of speaking engagements online on LinkedIn. Are they considered projects or are they just um
I think they can be a couple different things, depends how much what I do is I've actually created a position under my overarching company name,
Mhm.
and it's called guest speaker, a podcast guest speaker. It's actually a
Okay.
position. So I would suggest you do that for list your kind of example, prototypical type of places where you've guest spoken on podcasts. Then under the projects, maybe take some of the bigger ones. Like for me, I spoke at a national conference last August, the one we saw there
Hmm.
on LinkedIn, 150 people in the room. It was a national conference of certified senior advisors. It was a big deal. I think that's great for a project, and you give it, really showcase it.
Because I also do a lot of LinkedIn Live workshops with different partners that I have, and a lot of them are
Yeah.
out of the country. I have a London partner that I do seminars and workshops. They're paid. Um,
Wow.
I do a lot of those. And so I hadn't been putting up there because I didn't know where to put them. So I could say LinkedIn Live speaker or something like that.
Yes, I'd make it really specific. I'd even make a position just for LinkedIn Live host or speaker or whatever is the best terms or
Okay.
co-host. I think
Hmm.
that is impressive.
Okay.
And
So
here's
I'll
a
do
cool
that.
thing. You know what, Paul? You
Yeah.
can move around your positions in the experience section as long as you're currently doing it
Okay.
for emphasis, right? So you might have your core services, whatever they are. Then
Hmm.
next up would come LinkedIn event co-host. And what you do when you go into edit for experience, there's these little arrows that go like this and this. And when you click on it, then it will say reorder. And then you
Oh,
go into, then you list all your present, positions. And then there's these little hamburger lines on the right. And you just drag and drop, see the positions, you have them where you want them. It's really slick.
okay, great. And then I'll just equate the projects with those positions.
Mm-hmm. Then the
Okay,
projects
that's
can be,
wonderful.
redundancy. I find redundancy is okay. That's just me. People skim this profile. They're not going to read every word.
That's wonderful because I was wondering what to do with all those LinkedIn lives and the interviews and stuff. Now I know what
Yeah.
to do. Thank you.
Right. Yay! Anybody else have a question?
I love that. Any other questions? This has been amazing. If everybody wants to pull up your LinkedIn and look at it and just review and really see if you have any questions, because if we can pick Joyce's brain while she's here, this is the way to do it. Um, I I'm sure I have some. Let me look at my things here. Can you tell me how to get LinkedIn to work better when we're trying to live stream?
That's out of my pay grade. I don't know about that at all. Um,
And
there's
so let's talk about this a little bit.
yeah.
when people come into the skills, we talked about skills and endorsing skills. I feel like that's a step down from giving a recommendation, right?
That is correct, right.
So that
But
can
when
be
we're
a bit more casual. That can be people that maybe weren't your clients, or maybe you just, you just interact with them in their work.
well, you might just know them from a networking group. That would be a common situation. And they say, "Gosh, I'm trying to build up my skills endorsements," and they give you a list. And you can there's no functionality in LinkedIn to ask for um, a skill endorsement. They would just email you and tell you, endorse me for A, B, C, D skills. So then you go in and you just endorse them. But one thing to mention about skills that I forgot before is you can use that same approach to the reordering with skills, just like you can reorder your top 5 skills. Listen up. So in the skills section, if you go into the pencil, and then you will see 3 dots there by, when you go into yours, look at that, 3 dots, and it will say reorder. Now you're going to look at all your skills, and you have and only 2 skills displayed. Only 2 skills display in the skills section to the public. They have to click on show more to see the rest. So now you're winnowing down from 5 to 2. So think about that. So absolutely, that's how you want to. The skills they're so more important than you'd think, but recommendations are a bigger deal because that's really speaking to are you capable of doing what you do? Like I could recommend you, you could recommend me, you for the host, me for the guest. So I think they're both important, but it's just deeper. It really gets into more of the essence of what your people experience with you.
Well, and I think that it's the skills take very little effort to endorse somebody. You're literally just clicking endorse, where the recommendations they need to put thought into it and actually
Yeah,
create a recommendation. And so the level of involvement goes along with the level of involvement you have in that relationship. Jonathan,
exactly.
I see you have a question.
Okay. Um, Joyce, can you address the most professional and tactical way to handle what I refer to as the Facebookification that's been happening in the last 6 or 8 months in LinkedIn, where increasingly I'm seeing people talking about their kids, their vacation, their weight loss goals, and not so much about the business things. And it makes me not want to pay attention to them, but I'm probably just some grumpy old guy. Advice, please.
I think I'm probably 20 years older than you, Jonathan. Ha! Giving you a hard time. That's a pesky matter, I think, because you could stop following that person, but then dang, maybe they might say something relevant to the business that you wouldn't miss. Uh, here's a variation of that. If you stop following them and they're still your connection, right? You can make a list of 5 to 10 or whatever people like, yeah, I think once a month I'm going to see what's up with Sally or whatever. You could set up something even in your own systems, whatever they may be, so that you don't lose track of her completely. But if somebody's really annoying you, I mean, really annoying you, this is big time. You can block them, and then they're like dead to you, and you're dead to them. But that's very extreme. But what you're talking about is more of an annoyance. And so I think, personally, people are going to approach LinkedIn the way they're going to approach it. And I have been, as you noticed, because you're a longtime friend of mine, I've been putting posts up about my knee. I didn't put the grocery store post up though, where I'm at the deli holding my American cheese and saying, I'm all excited to finally be back to grocery shopping. Photo credit to Luis in the King Soopers, grocery store. I didn't put that post on LinkedIn because it didn't really have a message that related to business. But when I was first out of the surgery and I was laying there in bed with my leg up, all being, elevated and icing, I had 5 lessons I'm learning from this experience from my surgery. So that's how I bring my personal into LinkedIn sparingly. I'm giving you some examples. Does that help a little bit, Jonathan?
Well, I do agree that it's important to understand the person behind the solution. That's what the bulk of my work is about, is to humanize that business. Because we know that you can do the thing, but what's it like to work with you? The problem is that many people are not talking about how they've learned something through a personal experience. It's just isn't my kid cute? Look at my great vacation. They've gone right into Facebook and Instagram mode. And in some cases, these are people that I've respected for a while. And it seems that they are doing this to try to find something new to talk about because they think that they are rehashing the same points they're making over again. They're trying to find some way to reveal themselves as not a professional, but a person who's a professional. They're just doing it poorly because they aren't good writers, they aren't good strategists, they don't see the bigger picture. It feels like they're scrambling for some kind of relevance. But
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm not the only person who says,
I'm
"Can
with
you
you on
get
that,
back to topic?"
100%.
I
I
am
agree.
too. Nicole and I,
Other people have thoughts on this? I'm really glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
Nicole, you were saying something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. I say it all the time.
yeah,
You know, it's like leaving a bad neighborhood for a better neighborhood and then bringing your trash with you and leaving it on the lawn, right? I mean, it is a professional network. I have totally left Facebook and I don't get on there because of all that goes on there. I cannot concentrate. There's certain groups I'll go into, but we're here for business, and this is why we do networking and work with people like Carl, and then we have Daniel Andrews. You guys, it's in there. I know I'm plugging this, but it's important. We're getting back. There's a trust recession. Why? Because we can't talk to people anymore and we can't do business, and it's hindered so much of who we're talking to. Even if you do the data and the research before you get on the call, it's still, what's your favorite color? Let's talk about your cat. There's a lot of commercials on YouTube right now that's sharing with people how to have conversations, professional conversations. They're doing master classes on it, and that's what Daniel Andrews is bringing. Is I don't it's TMI. I don't want to. I don't want to know. And I don't want you to start twerking on LinkedIn either. And that, you know what I mean? Let's not bring that here. Let's really say it. I'm so glad you brought this up, Jonathan, because who wants to hear that? It's like there's a place for gossip and girlfriend time and sleepovers and a glass of wine, and then there's a place to be professional. And we can't mix them up. And like Joyce, you did that fabulously. If there's a lesson that you're teaching somebody and you're like an overwhelm coach and you're talking about an accident you had, share the lesson,
Yeah.
share the story. And remember to get back to work. There's certain things you can make up, like, hey, I did this great event. It was 3 days long, back to back, and now I took a vacation. This is why I share with people why it's so important to run a virtual event, right? So how are you tying that back? And if we keep doing that, then we're going to lose what we had on Facebook. Now you get all these spams and all these robots and on LinkedIn, and nobody wants to chat. So we're taking it away. So we had to be careful. And I think it's good to call it out. I think it's
Well,
really good, Jonathan,
and
what you did.
I think Nicole, you and I talk about this all the time. That Facebook activity is bleeding into LinkedIn. We see people, and Nicole and I look for this and see it. People who just scroll by and like or love a post, and
Yeah.
that's not what LinkedIn is about, right? Now,
Mhm.
there's a fine line, Jonathan. I'm so glad you brought this up. There's a fine line, and I always try to integrate the fact that I am a farm wife. I live on a farm. Um, I work with my animals. I do all the things, and I'm a business owner. I try to integrate those together because I could not be a farm wife if I still had a brick and mortar business and wasn't online building a business. And so it is a big part of my branding to be able to say, yeah, we had 14 sheep last night. And what came of that was, were we prepared? And so if you had an onslaught of customers, clients in your business
Great
online,
example.
would you be prepared? And so be able to correlate those,
Mhm.
but still letting everybody know that, hey, I'm still a farmer's wife or still a Grammy to 14,
Great
whatever that
example.
looks like, right? And so being able to correlate those. Now, I did have somebody say to me, oh, what you need to do is create a business page on LinkedIn. And I'm like, I literally said, what the heck? I thought LinkedIn was business. I've done
Oh,
all
but
my business on my profile. And it is
let
not.
me clarify though. Carl's got his hand up for a long time, but
I know.
quickly on the business page, the company page, as they call it, there's an advantage to having a company page in addition to your personal profile. Most things do happen. The energy is really over there, people to people. But from an SEO standpoint, and Jonathan can go on about this too, I'm sure, that's important to have a business presence. And some people really spend more time even with their LinkedIn newsletters through their business page. So I think it is a value. It is not a requirement to have a business page. Just to clarify, but can we go to
Yeah.
Carl?
I
Yeah.
think, well, before Carl goes, I think,
Yeah.
Joyce, one thing we skipped over with that is that if we create or when we create, because I will be doing my events on my business page, when you create your events on your business page, people can register for them that way and you can collect the emails and things like that, which you can't do on the regular
Oh,
profile.
good.
So that
Wow.
that's a switch that I'm working into because I have to do things gradually. Carl, thank you so much for your patience. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. First of all, Joyce, great job. A lot of good information. Appreciate that. And I'd like to expound a little bit more on what Jonathan's talking about because I totally agree. Think that I guess I'm glad that Facebook is there because haters need a place to go and people who want to post their kittens and whatever, that's great. But I think that what I try to strive to do is we do have fun at our events. We do want to have fun, but we try to keep it at least 90% business. It's okay. I want to know a little bit about you, Colleen. I want to know that you have a farm life. I do. We want to know those type things, but I think there's too many of these platforms that have of course, I speak to networking because that's what I do, but they have abused the concept of what networking is. They call all these platforms social. And really, I think they need to separate some of those, like LinkedIn should be business and Facebook should be social. And then some of the other platforms that have speed networking and stuff there should be social because that's primarily what they end up doing. What's your favorite color? What kind of cake do you like? That kind of thing, icebreaker questions. I don't think that that's as important as getting to the point and doing business. So, Jonathan, I completely agree with you. It's something that, you know, we- you're not going to be able to fix it and you're not going to be able to convince anybody that don't need to be doing it this way unless they ask you. But so it's there. We just have to kind of put up with it, I guess, until you train them one at a time or something. So anyway, that's all I wanted to.
Thank
You
you
know.
for that, Carl. What I want to do something really quick, and I've never done this on this before, but if everybody would just participate, even if you just kind of aren't really participating, paying attention right now, I want to know if you feel like a 90-10 rule is good. 10% family home relatability. I live on a farm. I just had 14 sheep. I have 6 chicks, and 90% I utilize my business to facilitate my farm life. I teach
Mhm.
online
Yeah.
clients to simplify their business so they have more free time. Raise your virtual hand if you think a 90-10 is a good
Mm-hmm.
ratio.
Mm-hmm.
What platform?
All right. Some of you don't think so.
Well, it could be maybe people want only
Yeah.
100%
And,
versus
and
10.
Becky. Okay. All right. Well, so it's quite a few. All right. You can lower your hands. And then Becky, you could was it you that had a question just barely?
Yeah, no, I have a comment. So I have a different view because for me, social media is strictly a tool. It's a tool to advance my business. So you go by each platform. The reason LinkedIn is where it's at right now is because it was dying. It literally was dying on the vine. They were looking at shutting LinkedIn down. It was doing so badly about 6 months ago. It was bad. So the humanizing became part of saving LinkedIn. Now, has it gone to all kinds of lengths? Yes, it has. But it is, to me, it is the users, it's a user's discretion. We do not have to participate. In fact, eventually, if you interact with the people that you want to attract, eventually those are the people that you'll see more in your feed,
Right.
and you'll see
Right.
less and less of the other people, like all the other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that I think it's just a matter of you have to step back from the feelings and the personal and just see it for what it is and how you advance your business. And then along the way, you find the right people. And you will be able to interact. You'll find your audience. I use LinkedIn a lot. I'm still learning a lot about it every day, but I will tell you, um, before that started creeping in, they were in trouble, not monetarily too.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
you're saying we should treat those people like the chatty Cathy of the office, right?
Yeah, just scroll on by, just don't react, just move on by. If you have something to say it. If you want to get a rise or you want to get a little attention, jump in and say something controversial. Then you get a whole lot of people jumping in and you get attention. It's part of it's a game. It's just a game.
All
One,
right,
It's how you play
Joyce.
it. I will tell you, by playing the game, I do now. Meta gave me a digital creator badge. I didn't ask for it. They gave it to me because I've learned how to play their game.
Interesting.
I did have one quick thought when you're talking about percentages, Colleen, is the
Oh yeah.
think about this just also as everybody's a little different, but how much you promote your own business. I offer these skills. These are me. So you want to talk about what you offer, and that's important. But if there's like, I'll just pick up like 70-30 could be an example here. Other people have other opinions. The 70% is what other people are doing. Jonathan is fabulous at showcasing other people, like that video did of Mike Kelly, the banker guy presenting at our B2B networking group here in Denver, is a perfect example where Jonathan is showcasing somebody else. And I've showcased Jonathan numerous times and many other people. So one of the great things about LinkedIn is it's such a wonderful tool to enhance your real life relationships with people in business. So or tips. I give like little business tips that are, nothing really to do with LinkedIn, but they're like how to be practical tips for business people. So Jonathan, I don't know if you have quick thoughts on this. I know we have to wrap up soon.
Well,
Do you
we
think?
have 3 questions for you too, and we do need to wrap up. So let's.
Oh, okay.
What's the one thing, Joyce, in your industry that everyone is doing and you think is complete BS, and why are they still doing it?
I don't know if I have a good answer for that. I just think in my industry, I think just being too braggy, maybe, going back to this, like I'm all that and I'm the greatest. I'm rarely at a loss for words, but this is what I don't have a really good
But
answer.
I think that you're right on there because nobody wants
Mhm.
to hang out with somebody who just talks about themselves all the time either.
Yeah.
You do need to promote your business, but it's also fun to see who you associate with and who you support. So that's good too.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's see, what's a mistake you made that cost you serious money or time that you kept making anyways because you were too proud or too scared to admit that it wasn't working?
Ooh, these are
Really?
deep. um, well, one thing you can make a mistake on is I think early on, I wasn't paying enough attention to my messages. Messages would come in, and I've had clients do this, where people want to talk to you, people want to do business with you, but you've been ignoring your messages. Bad move, girl, because there's gold in them there hills. So make sure you leave that notification set in your email so you know when people are trying to reach you through LinkedIn. So that would be one that comes to mind.
All right, and one more. If you could give one piece of advice to someone in your industry that would go completely against the grain, what would it be?
Tell them how old you were.
I love that. That's a great note to end on. Jonathan, did you have something to add at the end? I should just said you could.
I've learned so much about that platform through Joyce. And I've sent, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 of my clients to Joyce for insight. And when I am on that platform, I'm often thinking, okay, what would Joyce do? And one of the things that I'm always encouraging people, as Joyce was alluding to, is to find ways to support other people. That since they're trying to figure out what do you do and what kind of a person you are, when you are not bragging, when you're not talking about how perfect your life is, but you're talking about other people and you're able to support them, that tells them a whole lot about you. And it's also strategically really good because it expands your network and it's good for the country, Yankee Doodle.
Very good.
Thank you, Jonathan.
All righty. Thank you so much, Joyce. This has been amazing. So many gold nuggets. I am excited to implement the things that you've shared with us today.